Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janice R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janice will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janice R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janice Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist, here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. I'm so glad to be here with y'all today to talk about this topic of overcoming the fear of being seen, because I feel like there's so many people that struggle with this. There's this misnomer about what it means to show up, be seen. And I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to talk about ways to overcome it. There's actually one only way, and I'm going to tell you about that. But I just wanted to welcome you to today. And if this is something that you struggle with, well, as always, I'm going to give you some clarity around it. I always like to start with questions. You know me, I am the question lady. So why do so many people struggle to be seen while others find it easy to show up? What is the fear of being seen all about anyway? So like I said, today I'm going to talk to you about overcoming the fear of being seen if this is something that you struggle with. Not because I'm an expert on the topic. Lord knows I have struggled for much of my life to be seen. And that may sound weird because here I've been doing this podcast for going on almost 8 years. Next year will be 8 years. And you would think that I wouldn't have a problem, but hiding behind a microphone is so much easier than recording a video and doing the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube, all of that. So there is a real struggle, and I have struggled with it. And if you're listening today because the topic called to you, then I hope it helps you not only understand why you hold yourself back, because I'm going to talk about that, but also how you can take a few easy steps, literally a few easy steps, and obliterate this fear altogether. I don't know about you, but I am an extroverted introvert, which means that I am generally outgoing. I find it easy to talk to people, and I can easily occupy space in a room as well as handle any situation and kind of command the room. I can do that. And yet, there's always been a part of me that is shy, uncertain, and all in my head about putting myself out there. So if this sounds challenging, just listening to it, imagine what it's like living it, you know? And I know there are more of us out there who are extroverted introverts. It's a challenge that I have to deal with over and over and over again. Maybe you're one. Maybe you encounter this same challenge, right? And what I find is that my ego mind tells me all of the shitty things about how risky it is to do something new, how risky it is to hop on social media and post me talking on a reel, right? And how I better not do it because I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. And somebody who's more expert is going to know, oh my gosh, she has no clue, right? So I'm going to look stupid and people are going to see my mistakes and then pass a negative judgment on, about me. And then there's this other part of me that says, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck them. Fuck their judgments and their limitations and their smallness and their cattiness. What they do is of no concern to me. I don't care. All I care about is showing up every day, fulfilling my mission, and listening to my guidance and doing what I'm told by spirit. But it takes a while for me to get there sometimes. I have better days. I have days where I'm like, yep, I have no desire to do this, right? And if you've listened to me for long enough, you have heard me talk about my faults and shortcomings, as well as how I've overcome a ton of shit in my life. And the only way I've been able to overcome the hard parts of my life is because I reached a point where not overcoming, not changing, not growing became intolerable. And so I made a new decision. and took new actions, especially while I was scared. And if you can relate to this, then you're in the right place today. You see, most people hide themselves because they're afraid that the truth of who they are will not be acceptable to other people. That if others, even those who we trust with our love, were to see who we really are, they would run for the hills. And then guess what? We're rejected. Our worst fear has come true. Most of us, though, we're not aware that the majority of people, those in our inner circle and those outside of that circle, they're rooting for us. They want to see you show your face, speak out, share a message. They admire your courage. And oftentimes, you really are their role model for showing them what's possible. Imagine that. Imagine looking at it like that. The very thing that we're protecting ourselves from could be the source of our greatest strength. When I was a young girl in elementary school, I loved to act. I loved getting on stage, dancing, acting, singing, and I actually thought that that was going to be what I was going to do for the rest of my life because it was just so natural for me. I didn't think twice about doing that, standing in front of a full cafeteria when I was in 7th grade of parents or kids and getting up and having my lines memorized and acting. I didn't feel nervous at all doing that. I love being on stage. I still do. And I love having the spotlight on me. I didn't think twice, right? I was living my truth. I was doing what I loved. And then something happened. In 7th grade, the year that I got the lead in the class play, my self-worth got obliterated. And I was severely bullied for 6 months. No one talked to me, including the boys. No one. 6 months, half the year. Y'all have heard this story as well. And I was humiliated. I was ashamed. People threw shit at me. They would move when I came near. Even when I did this play, it was at the peak of all of this bullying. And when I would do my piece on stage and then go back behind a curtain, everybody moved to the other side and left me standing there alone. And that happened every scene. It was brutal to my psyche. Then that began my questioning about my worth. Was I good enough to be loved, to be liked, to be accepted? And over time, I had many other experiences that shook me to my core like this and had me question my goodness, my validity, my worth. And it took a toll on me. But it wasn't until I faced the fears that were swimming all around in my head that I was able to eliminate each self-limiting boundary that I created for myself because of my past experiences. Now, it wasn't until later that I found out that because I had been gifted in all of my past lifetimes, that I was carrying around unresolved karmic debt. And for all of my lifetimes as a gifted healer, I was either imprisoned, punished, hung, tortured, or killed for having my unique gifts. So that's a lot of energy to carry forth and you not even know. And that, having that underlying this, those current human experiences is very, very difficult. So for a long time, all of this in combination led me to play it safe in life, to play small, to not put myself out there, to not be seen publicly, because the energy that I carried from all these previous lifetimes told me, if you show up, you're going to die. Pretty terrible, huh? Now, I'm not talking about developing agoraphobia. That never happened. I'm grateful. But I just played small because the smaller I was, the less people could convict me of doing something wrong and unacceptable. Playing small took its toll on me, though. It impacted every part of my life. But each time I faced the fear of being seen and then took action in opposition to those fears, I was able to chip away, one action at a time, at the inner blocks that held me back. I did it when I published my first book. I did it when I spoke in front of 400 colleagues as the plenary speaker at a conference. I did it when I began to do psychic and mediumship readings in public for people. I did it when I began my podcast. I did it when I got on social media. I did it every single time I spoke my truth. And I'm sure that if you look at your life, there are going to be plenty of examples of you working against your fears of being seen at micro levels and macro levels. You see, the trouble with not showing up for yourself and others is that you rob yourself of sharing your transparency, your truth, of living in your truth, and you rob others of receiving of the beauty that is you. I found one single solution for the fear of being seen. You're going to laugh when you hear it, but it's significant. And that is to recognize the fear, but do it anyway. That's the only way you're going to silence your inner critic. That's the only way you're going to grow. That's the only way you'll feel more courageous and confident and certain about who you are. Because everybody is good enough, even you. Everyone is worthy of being seen, even you. Everyone is scared of being rejected, including you. But what makes you love and accept yourself even more is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Oh, and not giving a shit about what people say, because the truth is this, that it is none of your fucking business what other people think. It has nothing to do with you. Your job is to show up, share who you are, and those who need to hear your message will show up too. And all of the others will either, not show up, or they're going to walk on by because they don't resonate with you. And that's a beautiful thing. Not so bad, right? So stop giving a shit about what other people think, because it's the wrong place to keep your focus. Start giving a shit about only what you think and feel and desire. This is the only place that your focus needs to be. There's someone looking for your advice with a similar struggle that you've had and you've overcome. There's someone looking for a lighthouse to help them out of trouble or out of their emotional pain. Be the light. There's someone out there who has a deep desire to stop playing small, to end the fear of being seen too, and to be unapologetically themselves too. Show them how. So each time you show up, especially transparently, especially honestly, and you take action that immediately deactivates your fear, you give others hope that they can do it too. One step at a time, one breath at a time, one jump at a time. That's all it takes to eliminate the fear of being seen. Feel it, but do it anyway. Do it anyway, and only focus on sharing your gifts with the world. What others say and do, it's none of your business. I wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and as always, live intuitively. Don't forget to hop on to my YouTube channel, The Intuitive Therapist with Janice R. Cohen, and also DM me, leave me notes, whatever you want to do on Instagram, at The Intuitive Therapist. See y'all next week.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend, and be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.